Hey friends, Neil here from Post to Post. Let's talk Vegas and let's talk the Winnipeg series. Wow, that ended a little bit, sooner than I thought. I think most people predicted Vegas to win this series. I also went that direction, but 5 games to me seemed a little bit short. I was expecting 6, maybe even 7, but 5 felt quick, and I don't really have a lot of in-depth comments for this series. I only probably watched between 20 and 30%. The games were on very late. I'm in an Atlantic time zone, so very difficult to watch those, plus there's other games going on at the same time, so not a lot of juicy, in-depth comments here, but I do want to go over a couple of things that happened, I guess, maybe majority after the whole series. A lot of interesting comments were thrown around on a media day after the game, so we'll talk about that a little bit, but let's quickly just look at the stats from the series and see if we can dissect this thing from maybe a bit of an analytical perspective. All right, so really just a couple of things to look at here for 2 reasons, really. For Vegas moving forward and seeing what they can improve, and also looking at Winnipeg and seeing what they can improve, not for the next round, obviously, but for next season. What kind of drastic changes do you think they could have done in this series to kind of increase their chances at winning? Maybe next year. Maybe they learn this year and come back next year. Who knows? But let's take a look. Goals for 19 versus 14. So in a 5-game series that obviously ends pretty quick, that's not the biggest goal discrepancy. I was expecting a more widespread goal differential than that. 19 to 14 isn't really that different, and so Vegas gets they get the nod there in that stat. Goals against, obviously, it's just the opposite of that. Vegas 14, Winnipeg 9. Power play. Here's where things get very, very interesting. The power play, Vegas was 18.8, but Winnipeg was 41.7. 41.7% on the power play. That's an incredible stat. Now, there's only been 5 games, so if you take the amount of power plays that Winnipeg had in there, maybe it's 6. I don't know what the number is, but the skew of data is not really going to be truly indicative of the team. Maybe in those 5 games, Winnipeg kind of punched above their weight a little bit in the special teams, whereas in 82 games over a season, things start to come down a little bit. The averages really start to come clear. So 41.7% looks really good on paper right now, but you have to remember it's only been 5 games, but still, that's really, really impressive, 41.7, so obviously Winnipeg gets the nod there. Penalty kill, 58.3 for Vegas, which is in relation to Winnipeg's really good power play. Vegas needs to buckle down on the penalty kill big time. That cannot be 58.3% in the next series. There's just no way. And then Winnipeg was 81.3% on the penalty kill. So Winnipeg by far won the special teams in this series. And it just goes to show you that Winnipeg really hung in the series, if you even want to say that, because of special teams. 5-on-5. Not great. Shots per game, Vegas 31.8 versus 30.8 for Winnipeg. Roughly the same. There's not really a winner there. That's pretty close. And shot against is obviously just the opposite. Face-off percentage is also really even, 50.8 versus 49.2, so not a big discrepancy there. A couple of things I noticed from Vegas. I just wanted to point them out. Chandler Stevenson, 8 points, plus 3. Pretty good. Not bad. He had the most points on the team. And I think that, those depth players that step up during the playoffs, that's what you want to see on a playoff run. Those are the players that you need to go deep into the playoffs. So you can't always be relying on your top 1, 2, 3 guys. You need those depth players to kind of contribute as well. So it's great to see that. And then on the Winnipeg side, here's where things get really interesting. So Mark Scheifele, where are you? Basically, and this is a segue into Rick Bowness's comments, which was, I think, happened, I don't know if it was the night of or the day after, but basically he said that our best players, weren't even close to as good as their best players. So, he's calling out Mark Scheifele probably directly, maybe Pierre-Luc Dubois, Blake Wheeler, although Blake Wheeler, if you look at his stats, and we're going to segue into him here in a second, but Blake Wheeler's stats from the series are actually pretty good. I think he had 6-ish points around there, and I believe 5 or 4 of the points were on even strength. And if you look at Winnipeg's power play, they dominated. They did so well. Their special teams did excellent. But 4 of his 6 points didn't even come on the power play, so he was great 5-on-5, which is nice, and he got 2 power play points, so he's good on the power play as well. He was a plus. I don't think he was a minus. So Blake Wheeler didn't really have that bad of a series statistically. He did definitely contribute. Mark Scheifele is another story. But I believe today Blake Wheeler said that he did not like, I don't have it written down, but I did not like the way that Rick Bowness handled the comments after the game or something like that. So obviously listen, I'm not comparing Blake Wheeler as a player in the series that he did okay versus Blake Wheeler as a person in his past and the things he said and stuff. It's not really about that. You can't completely blame Blake Wheeler for the fault or the destruction of this team, I guess, in this series. Other players, sure, but I don't think Blake Wheeler. I'm not a Blake Wheeler fan, but just objectively, he had a pretty decent series. Rick Bowness is frustrated. He is pissed, and I think that is bad news moving forward. Not necessarily because he's not going to be the coach or he is going to be the coach, but there seems to be a trend in Winnipeg with players not necessarily getting along with coaches. And I don't know if that's a coaching issue or a player mentality issue and a leadership issue in the dressing room. So maybe that goes back to Blake Wheeler. I don't know, but I think there needs to be some kind of change, whether it's a mental change, whether it's a culture change, a roster change, a management change, something. Obviously, you can't keep going the way that Winnipeg's going. There's too much confliction internally in the organization, so I believe we'll see some changes and probably some drastic ones, actually. So there's a lot of really, really frustrated fans out there. But yeah, congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights, who are moving on to round 2, as the majority of people predicted. And it's going to be, regardless of who they play, as I'm filming this, I don't know that yet, but regardless of who they play, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be a pretty good series. So yeah, thanks for watching this quick video. I appreciate you. Next, we need to talk about the Carolina Islanders elimination, and then who else? Oh, Dallas, Minnesota as well. So those videos are coming soon. If you're not subscribed to the channel, we'd love to have you on board. Those will be quick videos as well. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.